He was determined to become the best cop, yet he ended up as a lackey for the mob. He dreamed of becoming the coolest crime boss, yet he became the top student at the police academy. On this day, both of their destinies changed at the same time. With outstanding grades and a clean record, Colin successfully entered the Major Crimes Unit. Billy, who appeared gentle and well-mannered, was instead chosen to go undercover, and the only people who knew he was actually a cop were his two superiors. Following their orders, he officially became a criminal. During the 3 years he spent in prison, he got to know many inmates and successfully built a reputation for himself as someone with real connections to the mob. Colin not only thrived within the police department, he also successfully started dating the psychologist he had a crush on. Their biggest target was the most ruthless mob boss in the city, Frank, who also happened to be Colin's godfather. With his godfather's help, Colin became a rising star in the police force and even moved into a luxurious house. In return, Colin often leaked information to his godfather, helping him avoid police surveillance. After Billy was released from prison, he drifted through the criminal underworld. He began selling contraband on Frank's turf and even brutally beat members of another gang there. Billy's ruthlessness caught Frank's attention. Frank personally approached him and decided to recruit him into his organization, but he knew Billy had once been a cop, so he planned to test him from every angle. They didn't find any wiretaps on Billy, but that didn't necessarily mean he had no contact with the police.
Are you still a cop? No! Swear on your mother's grave, you're still not a cop! I am not a fucking cop!
Billy passed Frank's test, and Frank even helped him settle a conflict with the Italian mob.
Do you trust him? Well, these days, who's reliable?
Frank never fully trusted anyone, not even the Frenchmen who had followed him for decades. But he still needed these people to risk their lives for him, and at critical moments they could serve their purpose. Frank's methods for dealing with problems were simple and brutal. He deliberately showed Billy his ruthless side. Anyone who dared betray him would meet an even worse fate. The 2 lives he had just taken became Frank's gift. He informed Colin and told him to go arrest the killer. That was how Colin earned the captain's trust and gradually rose through the ranks with his own team. Meanwhile, Billy followed Frank's crew, participating in crime after crime and slowly becoming one of Frank's core members. But the constant crimes pushed Billy to the brink mentally, and he often went several days without being able to sleep. Billy had become a cop to protect ordinary people, yet now he was standing beside a madman, witnessing brutal violence firsthand. Many times he could barely hide the fear inside him. A doctor prescribed him sleeping pills, hoping they might help. Billy went to see his superior, asking to restore his identity as a police officer, but his superior told him to hold on just a little longer.
Now, we're the only 2 people on the face of this earth that even know you're a cop. How about we just erase your file, huh? You're just another soldier for Costello. I'm gonna fucking kill you, huh? I'm gonna fucking kill you! That's a joke!
The military had recently had its most advanced military chip stolen, and it had already fallen into Frank's hands. Frank had even contacted overseas buyers. If we catch him this time, you can finally walk away with everything accomplished. The superior also suspected that Frank had a mole inside the police department, so they needed to be extremely cautious during this operation. The operation began, and Colin's team only learned their target once they arrived at the scene that night. Cameras had already been installed at the transaction site, and their job was to identify the criminals present. Colin immediately called his godfather and informed him that tonight's deal had been targeted. A male officer noticed Colin making the call, but he had no idea Colin was actually tipping someone off. Frank boldly chose to continue the deal. Colin slipped his phone into his pocket and quietly warned his godfather not to use a cell phone. Frank ordered his men to turn off their phones. The buyers had set up heavy firepower, but Frank showed no fear and even intimidated them into putting their weapons away. After confirming the situation, Billy sent a signal to his superior, and the 2 sides completed the deal. However, they escaped by water, leaving dozens of police officers with nothing.
Look, there is a rat in your unit. That is a fact, all right? There is a leak from the inside. It's real, man. Smoke him out.
Billy then tried to use false information to expose the mole. At the same time, Frank ordered Colin to identify the undercover agent in his ranks.
You like little Miss Thing sucking on your cock? Yes, I do.
Colin asked his godfather to provide the identities of everyone who had been present the night before, so he could use the internal system to identify the mole.
Boss wants your real name, your social and license number, your bank account numbers.
Billy was suddenly told to fill out his personal information, and everyone else had to do the same. After finishing his form, Billy marked the bag containing it. He realized Frank was investigating him, so he decided to follow Frank. Sure enough, Frank met with the mole and handed over their information. Billy then followed the mole, trying to uncover his identity. He continued trailing him, but after turning a corner, the man suddenly vanished. Then Billy spotted the mole's reflection in a mirror and resumed the chase. Suddenly, Billy's phone rang, and the mole realized he was being followed. He pulled out a knife he carried with him and lowered his stance. Colin killed an innocent passerby and quickly fled the scene. When he reached an intersection, he noticed a surveillance camera, and once back at the station, he began checking who had been following him. But the footage was too blurry to identify the person. Overwhelmed by pressure, Billy went to see the doctor again, hoping for some comfort. The doctor was attracted by his handsome appearance, and passion quickly ignited between them. Since he hadn't managed to uncover the mole, he might as well relax with an unexpected romantic encounter. The captain realized there was a mole within the police force and asked Colin to form an internal investigation team. Frank suspected a bald man was the undercover agent and ordered Billy to interrogate him. Although the bald man wasn't the mole, he did know that Frank was actually an informant for the FBI. It turned out Frank had been selling information to the FBI for years, which was why he had always been protected by them. Ever since he had nearly been exposed last time, Colin had started to worry that his own days were numbered. He wanted to escape Frank's control, but Frank would never let him go. Now that Colin had the authority to investigate anyone, he immediately started checking the list, but several people on it had no records in the system, making it impossible to confirm the mole's identity. Frank was furious, his hands stained with blood. He told Billy that new recruits would be used in the next operation, which meant Frank was starting to suspect him.
You're a cop.
What?
You're ignoring us. You're a cop.
Billy was startled, but it turned out to be just a joke. Still, Billy was already on the verge of collapse. Frank could turn on him at any moment, so he called and demanded to see his superior immediately. Colin, desperate, ordered one of his men to follow the superior. When the officer questioned him, Colin lied and said the superior was actually the mole in the police force. The superior cautiously wandered around the city, unaware he was being followed, and eventually got on the subway. At that moment, Billy called him.
Is there any reason you would have a tail? No!
Billy, I don't have a tail.
Billy told him to wait 10 minutes after leaving the subway before contacting him again, and finally arranged to meet on a rooftop. The officer following him immediately reported the location to Colin, and Colin quickly informed his godfather. Frank's men gathered and rushed toward the building.
Billy, where the fuck are you? We've been trying to reach you. We found the rat.
Listen, we're gonna take him out. Now look it.
The address is 314 Washington Street. You got it?
Only then did Billy and the superior realize they had been followed, but it was already too late. Frank's men soon arrived.
He must be our guy.
Get him out of here. These guys are ready.
They had nowhere left to escape. The superior told Billy to flee down the exterior stairs. As a police officer himself, he believed he would be fine. Billy escaped from outside.
What's your name?
Fucking boy! Hey! Come on, motherfucker! Where's your fucking...
But Billy had to return to the building later to avoid exposing his identity. Billy was completely stunned, staring in disbelief at what unfolded before him. It was pure madness. The superior was killed right in front of him. One of Frank's men urged Billy to get into the car quickly, while the police officers rushed out, determined to avenge their leader.
Why the fuck were your guys following?
Colin tried to avoid responsibility under the pretense of conducting an investigation. Another officer punched him hard, but he was pulled away by the captain and then suspended. Because Billy had arrived late that day, Frank's men suspected he was the mole, but the wounded gangster defended him. He explained that he had deliberately given Billy the wrong address, yet Billy still appeared at the correct location. The gangster kept this secret to protect Billy. The next day, the news reported that the dead superior had been an FBI agent who had infiltrated the mob as an undercover operative. Frank believed the undercover threat had been eliminated and relaxed his guard slightly. While looking through the superior's belongings, Colin finally couldn't resist using his phone to contact Billy. This phone was the private line between Billy and the superior. Billy carefully answered the call, and both sides waited for the other to speak first. Whoever spoke first might reveal their identity. Billy was so nervous he didn't dare say a word and abruptly hung up. He hurriedly packed his belongings, preparing to leave the place. But when he looked at the phone on the table, hope returned, and he called back. This time, Colin spoke first, claiming he had taken over communication with him and asking Billy to come to the police station. Billy hung up again. While reviewing the superior's belongings, Colin discovered that his godfather had been an FBI informant, which meant the FBI might already know about many of his crimes, With the undercover threat gone, Frank became even more brazen and conducted deals openly. Colin informed him that police officers were tailing him, and Frank demanded Colin deal with it.
There's no need for you to go yourself, Frank.
Get rid of the fucking tail!
Frank had been suppressed by the threat of undercover agents for too long. Now he believed no one could stop his rampage. Colin forced the officers who were tailing Frank to withdraw, claiming he would handle communication with the mole personally. Billy sent Colin the location of the deal, and Colin began deploying police forces accordingly. Frank personally tested the quality of the contraband and was very satisfied. He ordered his men to load the goods into the truck.
How do you know you don't have a tail, huh?
Were you not in the fucking car?
And what if they took one off and they put another one on?
To be safe, Billy went to check the surrounding area. Just as Frank was leaving happily, the ambushing police officers sprang into action and blocked the exits. A gunfight immediately broke out. Frank quickly retreated in search of an escape route. The well-prepared police soon shot down the gang members one by one. The Frenchman was also hit. With nowhere left to go, he finally shot himself. Frank was shot in the abdomen and immediately called Colin, hoping to survive. Colin had already been waiting there. Even then, Frank didn't understand what had happened and blamed Colin for failing to deal with the police. Colin only wanted to know one thing. Had Frank ever betrayed him to the FBI? Frank said he never betrayed anyone. He only handed over those who had nowhere left to go.
Frank, do they know about me?
I know about you, Colin.
Colin personally killed his godfather, earning great merit for the police department and becoming a hero. Billy finally arrived at the police station. He wanted his identity restored, and Colin promised to recommend him for a Medal of Honor. But Billy only wanted to leave the police force and live as an ordinary person. He told Colin the password to his files, and Colin agreed to restore his identity. But when Colin entered the archive room, Billy accidentally noticed an envelope. He picked it up in disbelief, confirmed the handwriting was his own, and fled in panic. When Colin returned to his office, Billy was gone. All that remained was the opened envelope on the table. He realized he might have been exposed, so he went back to the archive room and deleted Billy's files. Billy went to see the doctor. At this point, she was the only person he dared trust. He gave her his information, hoping that one day it might help prove his identity. The doctor happily brought a report to Colin. She was pregnant, and they would soon have a happy family. While tidying up her desk, she saw the letter Billy had sent to Colin and opened it, discovering a disc inside. Listening in shock, she realized the disc contained recordings of phone calls between Colin and Frank. The man she lived with day and night was actually a servant of a monster. She immediately pulled off the headphones, and Colin realized Billy had obtained evidence. They arranged to meet at the building where the superior had fallen to his death. Colin had no choice but to go to the rooftop. Billy quickly subdued him. Colin, unwilling to lose his perfect life, tried to reason with him.
I can get you your money.
What
Just
did you
act.
say?
I can get you your money.
But Billy wasn't motivated by money. He wanted Colin to face justice, so he handcuffed him with his own handcuffs. Colin threatened him, saying he had already deleted Billy's files. Without them, Billy was nothing but a full-fledged gangster, and his evidence couldn't touch him.
Shut the fuck up!
Just then, another officer arrived on the rooftop. Billy had called him there.
Look, he's Costello's whacked! All right? I got boxes of tapes, evidence, other documents proving it!
Maybe you do. But right now I need you to drop the weapon!
The officer didn't dare trust Billy easily, so Billy cautiously forced Colin downstairs as a hostage. Once the elevator doors closed, Colin lost all hope.
Just fucking kill me. Just fucking kill me.
I am killing you.
Suddenly, Billy was shot dead, and another officer moved to free Colin. At that moment, Billy's ally came down from upstairs. Seeing Billy lying on the ground, he lowered his gun, but suddenly...
Did you think you were the only one he had on the inside? Costello was gonna sell us to the FBI. It's you and me now, you understand? We gotta take care of each other, you understand?
Colin realized that the mole had saved his life, and together they began wiping away fingerprints. Colin was an expert at writing reports. He managed to shift all the blame away from himself and even hypocritically recommended Billy for a Medal of Honor. The police department covered Billy's body with the American flag and fired a salute to honor his sacrifice. The doctor, filled with grief, came to say goodbye to Billy. Colin believed he could finally live freely in the light, but when he opened his door, he froze in place. The officer didn't say a word. He simply put a bullet in him and calmly walked away. Justice may be delayed, but it never fails to arrive.